Good morning, and it's September 23rd, 2024. And I wanted to come up and say hi and just tell you a little bit about what God's doing in my life right now. Let's start with the affirmations. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are wonderful. You can if you try. You are unique. You are called by and predestined by God. And that in itself is just an amazing thought. And just urge you to tell people that, tell yourself that every day. I go to a grief share program with my church, and I know last night one of the things they were saying is make sure you say positive things to yourself. So stand in front of the mirror and say, hey, I am awesome today. I can do this. I'm amazing. I'm wonderful. I'm predestined by God. God has given me grace. These are great things, great positive things to say to yourself, say to other people. I urge you just to say it to people, because that will help a lot, encouraging them and encouraging you. So I asked God today, I said, God, I really want to make a video, and I have a lot of things buzzing around in my head, and I have no idea what I wanted to say. So I know I'm trying to finish my second book, and my first book is out. It'll be out on the shelves in the next month, from what I understand. They're working on right now the cover of the book. The inside of the book has already been edited and everything. They're just waiting for me to decide what cover I want. So that's cool. I'm excited about that. That's something that I actually never thought in a million years would ever happen. Or in however many years that I was alive. But speaking of years and time, I felt like God wanted me to talk about time. So it was just one of those weird things today. I was sitting here and I was thinking about time, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go up on my Facebook and check out some of the people that are up there that I have for listening to music, or not Facebook, but one of my music apps. And I thought, I'll just go ahead and press this song. Well, amazingly, it was by a singer, Toby Mac, and who I'm excited that I get to go see in concert, which that'll be actually my first concert in quite a while. But I'm going to put my headphones on, and I'm going to go enjoy his music, as well as a bunch of other people. And anyway, getting back to that, I'm not going to go into the whole song because I think that's a copyright thing, but the song itself is called Help Is on the Way, and I urge you to go up on YouTube and look it up, because speaking of which, time is at hand. And the whole song is about, it might be midnight, it might be early in the day, it might be late. You really don't know, God's going to be there, but you don't know when he's going to be there, because that's just how God works. It says in the Bible that God's time is different than our time. Our time might be 7 days a week. Well, his time might be 1,000 days, or a whole 1,000 years. And that's 7 days of the week for us. It's 1,000 years for God. So it's kind of a bizarre. We're like, I don't know, however that works. Time is just a weird thing all in itself. So I was looking up the word time, and I came across that in the Bible, there's two different times. I've talked to y'all before that I love Greek. Well, there's Chronos, and Chronos is a precise time, like the time of day. So time means a lot of things to me in the daytime, because I have to make sure that in time I am up walking 3,000 steps in my time that I only have 6 hours where nobody's here. I need to make a video. I need to do my laundry. Like, I have specifics for my time in my day. When my sister-in-law comes home, or when my husband comes home, I have time set aside to spend time with them. And even during the day, when I have everything else going on, I have to make sure I spend certain time with all my animals. I have a cat and a lizard and 2 dogs, so I make sure I have my time to work with all 4 of them. Yeah, 4. I was thinking I had 5, but I have 4 right now. So time is a big thing, and I'm sure time is a big thing for everybody. Some people go to work, and I don't go to work anymore, so I have to write my time out in certain ways. But I know when I worked out at the school, my time was the Chronos. It was precise. Everything had to be done at a certain time so that my kids could learn, my kids could go to PE or whatever, and that was what we did. So when you think about time, think about what kind of time are you using. Now, are you spending your time drunk all the time? You're obviously not getting a lot done if you're drunk, or if you're high, you're obviously not getting a lot done. Some people spend their time sitting there staring at TV or playing video games. What are you doing in that time? Time is a precious thing, guys. It's not something to play around with. If you have time to do something constructive, time would be a good idea for you to figure out so that you can do that constructive thing. So that was my first thought with time. And then I was listening to the song by Toby Mac that, it could be any time. God doesn't come back on your calculation. He shouldn't be back right now. He's not going to help you right now. He's going to help you in his time. So then I got to look at it, and I was like, well, Chronos means precise time. But I'm pretty sure that God doesn't follow the Chronos time frame that we follow. He does follow something called, and if I butcher the word, I am so sorry, because I can read Greek, and I can spell Greek, and I can write Greek. But saying it sometimes is a hit or miss. So I believe it said Kairos or Kairos or something in that general direction. It's spelled Kairos. So it means the right time or the opportune time. It's more or less what you're going to see in the Bible that God might say. This is his time. This isn't the Chronos. This isn't time that we live. This is God's time. And I like this word. I think this will become my new Greek word for the week, because I need to learn how to accept this time. I don't need to learn how to accept Chronos. Chronos, we hear about it all the time. It's in mythology. It's in a lot of ancient texts. It's in a lot of things. It's the precise time. But God works on Kairos. I'm going to start saying it in Spanish. But I appreciate his time. And that's something that I really have to work on. And I'm pretty sure that a majority of us have to work on that time. In Psalms 46:1, it says, God is our refuge and our strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. And our times of trouble may happen at any time. I listen to people when I can. I can't always hear a lot of things, but I hear some things, and I just get focused. If I'm focused on something, I can read lips, so I can watch people talk, and which is actually a good thing for me to know. But I'll read lips, and I'll see people, and they'll talk to me about things that happened, or they won't talk to me. They'll talk about how things have happened right now, and now they just don't know what to do, because yesterday everything was fine, and all of a sudden today it's chaos. And I feel bad for the people that don't know that God is in the help is our refuge. He's our help in times of trouble. And I have seen how my life plays out, and there's a lot of times that I wished God had done stuff the way I wanted him to do it, how I wanted him to, and when I wanted him to do it. So, for instance, I've told y'all before that we felt like God wanted us to, or wanted me to go out of work. And it's 17 years. I have loved teaching. I love being in a classroom. I love my children, no matter how old they are. Sometimes it can get really annoying, but I have loved every minute of it. And for me to feel like it was time for me to go, I was devastated. And even my husband wasn't sure that it was really the time for us to go. And then all of a sudden, God hit us. Well, God didn't hit us, but God showed us that there was a reason why we had to leave. Now I have this medical thing going on, and who knows how much time, again, I have. Is it precise? I don't know. Is it going to happen in the next 2 years, next few months? I don't know. We see things happening, but we don't know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and how it's going to happen. Just like this song that Toby Mac was singing. I know he's probably talking about when God's going to come back or something like that, but it may be midnight. It may be the middle of the day. God might help us tomorrow, but he's not going to help us right now when I want him to help us. I wanted a clear view picture. I even told people at church, I want God to do it right now. I need the money right now. I need to know that my bills are going to be paid right now. I need to know that all of this stuff is going to be taken care of right now. I don't have time for tomorrow. I have time for right now. But God is like, no, I am the person that made time. Time is of the essence, as if other people tell me. Time is of the essence. I know time is of the essence, but my time of the essence is right now. Time of the essence for God might be tomorrow or next week or the day before you actually need something. So I'm going to skip backwards. And I was writing something in my second book, and it was about something that I was really struggling with. My youngest daughter had gram-negative meningitis when she was only 3 months old. And the doctors were telling us that she was going to die. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was a mess, to say the very least. And, or say the very most, however you want to say it. But, so many things that were going through my head, and I kept praying, and God, you know that we are really struggling right now. And, here's my baby girl, and she's fighting for her life, and she's so young, and why does she have to go through this? And I was at the hospital by myself for the longest time. My husband had to go to work, and it's just everything was just crashing down on my head, and I was taking it in as crashing down on my head. And the doctors were coming back and saying they had to do a spinal tap on her, and her body temperature was too low, which I didn't actually think that could happen, but her body temperature was dropping, and they needed to find out what was going on now, because she was just having a lot of trouble. And then on top of that, we couldn't figure out why she was so small. She was born at 7'1", and 7 pounds 1 ounce, and she was born in October. And the doctors told us that they thought that she was going to be mostly full term, but when she came out, she was actually very small, body wise. She wasn't fully formed. Her lungs, and they still weren't all the way there, and she needed a good 2 more weeks. Well, when I look back at it now, I see where God was there and God was helping. But during the midst of it, I was going crazy. I didn't know what the heck was going on. And I just didn't know this little tiny child. She's in the hospital at 3 months. She was 5 pounds. She had lost 2 pounds. And she was born at 19 inches. And when she was in the hospital with a meningitis, she was 19 inches. She She was 17 inches when she was in the hospital. So she had lost some inches, plus she had lost poundage, a lot of pounds, and for a baby anyway. And everything was just, I was just so devastated. And I kept thinking, God, you're not helping me. I need help right now. But in the midst of everything, God was helping, and I didn't see it back then. It wasn't in my time. It wasn't the time that I was expecting God to come down and lift up my baby so that she wasn't sick anymore. She didn't have a fever. I didn't want her to, be suffering. I didn't want them to have to go in and give her IVs here and give her IVs there. And eventually they ended up having to put a central line in because she was so tiny and her body just wasn't accepting it. They put her in the NICU. Like I was flipping out. And I remember praying and saying, God, I need you to do this now. And I never saw it. And then I would sit there and I'd be like, but God, I don't want to be here with my baby. I don't want her to be in the hospital. I don't want her to have meningitis. Like, seriously, things are getting worse. And now you're telling me I'm going to lose my baby? No, this is not happening. And all the while, people are telling me, just wait, God is there. God is providing. No, I want God to do it now. I want this done now. I want it to come on a silver platter now. Like, this is how I want God to do it. This is a time frame I had for God. Well, it never came. Not the way I wanted it. I take that back. It did come, but not the way I wanted it. God worked in his mysterious ways, as I see my entire life. And he provided help in the time of trouble, just like it says in Psalms, but not in the way that I wanted it. It wasn't the way I had expected him to help. And I was so overcome. I ended up having to get put on medication so that I would settle down. My anxiety levels were insane. My ADHD, my autism, every single part of my mind went crazy. And they had to put me on medication so that I could chill out. I mean, I was a mess. I was absolute mess. And I remember one of our pastors coming to us going, Christy, just settle down. It's okay. God's going to provide. But God's not providing the way I need him to provide. And I'm sure in your life, you've probably gone through times like that. I'm sure you're going through times like that right now. God, you're not providing the way I want you to provide. But now I look at it and wow, he did provide. Not only did he provide, somebody paid for the hospital bills that she was in the hospital for 2 weeks after that. Somebody paid for that. Not only that, if she hadn't gone into the hospital with meningitis and her body temperature was dropping, she would have died anyway because her little body couldn't handle protein. So they ended up finding out that she had dropped so many pounds that she was still dropping when we got to the hospital. She was still losing weight. I want to say she got down to 4 pounds, 9 ounces or somewhere around there. Before they figured out what was actually happening to her, they realized that while they were trying to give her something to keep her alive, they also realized that her body was rejecting every protein that was out there. So they realized that the only way they can get her to gain weight was to put her on amino acids. And it was straight amino acids until she was almost 2.5 years old. And as soon as they put her on that formula for just amino acids, all of a sudden she started to grow and she started to gain weight. And I was just like, okay, God, you could have done this back then, but he didn't choose to do that. He chose to do it on his time. He didn't choose to do it on my time. It would have been a lot easier for me, how I felt at the time, but I was his time, not my time. Christmas was another thing. I did not know what on earth we were going to do for Christmas that year. I mean, here I have a baby in the hospital. It's December. I haven't been out of the hospital since she got there. in the middle of December, and I just didn't know what was I gonna expect. I mean, here we're gonna have baby. I mean, have her first Christmas, and she's not gonna have anything under the tree, except for what her daddy might get here and there, or her grandparents might do, or things like that. I felt really bad. I mean, I get it. She's a baby. She wouldn't really understand all of it. But I had a 3-year-old at home, or 2.5-year-old, and she wanted something. And I know some people that are all against Santa Claus, and I'll talk about that another day. But I don't necessarily that I believe in Santa Claus, but I wanted my children to believe in Santa Claus, and so I was just like, okay, well, now this is going to be the first year that my children, or my oldest daughter is going to be like, whoops, Santa Claus didn't come through. Well, there was a really nice man at the hospital that my daughter was at, and he was a Santa Claus that year. He was very interested in my daughter and the whole circumstance that we were going through. And he knew about what was going on upstairs. He had been upstairs, I'm sure, to see me going absolutely crazy because I just wanted this to happen, and it wasn't happening. And I got called right after we left the hospital. We left the hospital December 23rd. So we only had 2 more days before Christmas. And I got called, and they said, you need to come up here and pick up this little box because Santa dropped it off for you. And I thought, okay. So I went, and I went to the hospital, and I picked up this little box. And it was a little tiny box. And then they also gave me another size box, and they said, this one's for your baby. And I thought, okay. Well, inside the bigger box was diapers, preemie diapers, because we didn't have preemie diapers. We had preemie diapers, and then a little card, a discount card, to buy more preemie diapers, and some preemie food, which we couldn't use that, but we were able to give it away to other people. And then a phone number to contact for other clothes, which this lady ended up having all these clothes for us, for preemie clothes. And then there were preemie outfits in there, and it was just like, wow. And there was a gift card for my husband and I thought, wow, how amazing. Well, when I opened up this little card, I think I took the box home, and I let Chad and I look in this little box, and in this little box was a gift card to Kmart. And this folded up piece of paper, or this folded up ad from Kmart. And my oldest daughter wanted a princess bed. And Santa Claus was the only one that knew about it. We weren't specifically told. I mean, Samantha would sit there and go, I'm going to get a princess bed for Christmas, and da-da-da. And I was like, oh, no, you're not going to get a princess bed, because we haven't even gone to the store yet. But the day that Samantha went down there and asked him for her princess bed and her princess sheets, he went to Kmart and he purchased the bed and the sheets, and he purchased blankets and everything for the bed, and he put a little note in there, and it said, because she's a precious child of God. And we were like, are you kidding me? So when we got to Kmart, the bed and everything had already been purchased, and the lady was so excited that we were there to pick it up. She was like, yeah. And Santa Claus was asking us to ask you about your other daughter, because she was really sick. And I was like, yeah, she's doing better. We just brought her home. And they were like, oh, that's wonderful. Evidently, Santa Claus had told them about us and about my daughter, and they handed us a gift card, and they said, okay, well, this is for your daughters for Christmas. And I was like, another gift card? So we ended up having like $100 and something to shop for Christmas for my children. But God got us through that. It was amazing. And it goes along with the time. I thought God should have provided everything now, you know? And he wasn't working on the now. He was working on the getting it done before we needed it, but not the right now. And throughout my life, I've seen this. And, you know, I guess since I journal a lot and I have a lot of this written down, it helps because then I can go back and look at it and I can see where God has provided for things. And then if something else happened when my daughter was 2 and she was back in the hospital, and she just had one problem after the next up until she was almost 6 years old. And I just remember thinking, God, you need to come through now. And every time I kept asking her for now, and every time he kept telling me, no, 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 I'll get it done. You just have to have faith. And as I've gotten older, I still hope that God will tell me, okay, God, I need the now. I need you to show it to me now. But he doesn't. He continues to and be on his time, you know. And everything that we do is on his time. How he provides for us is on his time. So if you're going through something right now, know that I get it. You know, I'm still going through the death of my brother. And I have friends that have the deaths of their siblings or the death of their parents or whatever, and we're all just kind of in this world, in this pile. We're all just kind of looking up like, okay, God, any day now. I'll take that day. I'll take it now. Sorry. And God is saying, I'm going to do it on my time, not on your time. It's on my time. And it's not precise. It's not Kairos. It's I gotta look at my little thing again. It's on God's time. And I hate that these two words are very similar. One starts with a K and the other one starts with a C. But it's Kairos. Again, I know I butchered the word and I apologize. But just remember that if you're in a time, if you're of needing God, that he's there. He is there with us. He's in every present time. Means he is there all the time. He's watching you. And he's with you, but he may not answer you right now. He may answer you in mysterious ways. He may answer you when the time comes that you need that whatever. You know, our time is of the essence, like I said. God's time is of the essence too. But it's in his essence. It's not in our essence. And that's what we need to pray for. We need to pray for God's timing. God, thank you for your timing. God, help us to have patience, to be able to get through and know that your time is perfect.